Hello and welcome to the 8 Minute Window. We all know that leadership takes time and dedication to truly master. But what if we told you that in just 8 minutes you could unlock insight that stays with you forever?
Honestly, that was one of the reflections from last year, and I just realized how a tremendous power of consistency and compounding effect. I think I've been in periods of life where we had like ambitious goals and you were trying to really go hard and like make all those things happen within a month, but then you feel burnout after some time because it's just really not sustainable. And then over the last year, I shifted my approach and kind of like developed, I think, a more sustainable plan where you're just trying to do your best every single day. And some days doing your best means being 30% of your capacity. Some days it means being 120. But essentially, it just like gave me permission, I guess, to try my best. And looking back, I think that's where a lot of the success and a lot of progress did come from. It's just like never getting to a point where you are burnt out and have to recover, but really putting the maximum effort you can every single. Yeah, I would encourage everyone to think about kind of like it's a marathon, not a sprint. What are some of the really consistent routines, habits, processes, practices you can implement to really incrementally get closer to your goal over time?
I'm going to give a piece of advice. It's actually a bit more general than diversity and inclusion, but it does apply as well. And it's a piece of advice a friend gave me when I first started the business. He was a freelancer. And he pointed out that it doesn't matter what field you're in, education, diversity, inclusion, people get really attached to their work. And sometimes because of that, they don't have the ability to see the flaws in it because they feel like they're intending to do as best that they possibly can. And they can't get past that idea and see where the bumps are that need ironing out. So his recommendation to me was anytime you have a problem, a project that you're working on, a new idea, general thing, write it down on a piece of paper, what you think you would like to do. Go away, get a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, go for a walk for 5 minutes, come back, and then read it afresh, imagining that you were advising someone on what they should do. Or, better yet, if you're talking about something you're going to do for your learners, imagine you're in a classroom and somebody has just presented you with this particular topic, idea, project. How would you react? Gut reaction, off the bat, no thinking about the logistics, because quite often we'll get stuck in the idea of what we want to achieve and not consider what's it actually going to achieve in reality.
So put 1 hour in your diary and go walking about. Ask questions, be curious about what's going on. And I put this in quite a large organization where the guys, and these were senior directors, responsible for a global region. And they were all saying, well, I haven't got time. I've got too many meetings and da, 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 da. So we did a deal in the end that we would try it for 1 month, just 1 hour between now and the next board meeting. When we reconvened, they said, we need to do more of this. We need to do more of this. So highly valuable. Another one, which is easy to do, is skip level meetings. So I used to find that those were the most informative meetings I ever used to have. So it's the most junior people in the organization from different departments or functions brought together to have lunch or coffee or whatever it is. And then 2 agenda points. 1, how can we make this a better place for our customers? And 2, how can we make this a better place for our employees? And I got so much more out of those sessions than through talking to their managers. And then just a more general one to finish, I think, be consistent so that people know where they stand with you as a leader. And that's not easy to do. I remember buying some donuts for the reservations team because they had broken a record. And then something like 2 months later, people were complaining because I hadn't got donuts because I didn't know that they'd broken another record. But consistency as far as you can so that people know where they stand with you.
I think a practice that every leader should try on is the practice of saying, I don't know. I think when I first found myself in leadership roles years ago, I had this naive idea that the leader was the person with all the answers. In fact, the leader was the person with so much experience and skill that you could plug them into any job that was part of the team and they could do it as well or better than that teammate could do it. And then if you could just clone the leader and have an army of those people, you could get the job done in half the time. And of course, in hindsight, I realize that is an absurdly naive point of view, right? It is not the role of the leader to be the best at everything. It is not the role of the leader to have every answer. It's the role of the leader to create that environment we talked about back with that first question, in which the leader can say, hey, here's a thorny problem, and I don't know the answer, but I'll bet somebody on this team or some combination of people on this team do. So let's have a conversation. I want to invite someone here who has an idea to put it on the table, and let's work together to build it out. Together, we're going to figure out the answer. Together, we're going to know.
In your organization, is that you create this almost flat process to encourage efficiency and quality of outcome.
You have to be willing, I think, to share the spotlight with the entire team.
So one of the simplest things that I feel has the most profound impact for all of us is a practice I call have a moment. There's lots of mindfulness practices on the planet that are complicated and take lots of time, and you have to learn them, and they're great. But to have a moment is to take a moment to perhaps put your hands on your body, to notice where your feet are, to have a few breaths. And in my leadership training, I often encourage my students right out of the gate to say, at your dining room table at home, at the next meeting you lead, I'd like you to start by inviting people to have a moment. You could lead them through it. You could just have a moment yourself and be a model or an example of what it could look like. But giving in this busy world people an opportunity to actually have their eyes come up and pause is one of the most powerful disruptors of being lost in thinking, lost in the chaos, lost in eyes down management. And all of a sudden our eyes can come up and we realize, oh, I need some water, or I haven't felt my body breathe all day. So I would suggest if you're going to start anywhere, start with having a moment. And at any point in the day, offering that to someone else is a real gift.
Something I came across a few years ago was something called a thinking routine or visible learning. And I do it naturally through being in the outdoors, but a teacher I was working with told me about a thinking routine. And there's one called a see, think, wonder.
Okay.
And so it's a way of engaging with the picture that you see in front of you. So you take yourself in the urban environment and look outside the front door and you look at what you see. So you notice the clouds, you notice it's raining, you notice cars move by. And then you think. So you think what it's like to be up there. You think it might be a bit chilly if I was to stay here for half an hour. But then trying to develop the sense of wonder, it's like, well, I wonder how long, this will go on for. I wonder, and it's that kind of perception of putting yourself in the picture.
I wonder what would happen if I paraglided off the top.
I wonder what it'd be like to jump off there. Exactly. So it's that kind of thing where you're connecting with, and it is about connection with the place that you're in. And I think that's something that resonates with me throughout everything I've done, is about how you connect people with the environment and it changes. But I think that whole idea of a thinking routine, or another one would be, I used to think blah, 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 but now I think. So just by doing something, and it's about learning, it's great in the classroom, it's brilliant for reflection and actual thinking and the process and the research behind the cognition and the way we operate. It's a really great thing called thinking routines.
No, that's brilliant.